Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Q&A, so let me get my hat on and let's knock this out. Alright, first question. Alan Thrall has been implementing the starting strength low bar Rippetoe squat as his latest videos have showcased a couple of starting strength coaches. What's your opinion on the SS low bar squat? Is it for everyone regardless of mechanics and levers? What are the negatives and positives of it, and how does it fare versus the high bar for varieties of issues, development, strength, etc.? Generally speaking, this is where I'm going to disagree with Rippetoe, and I don't think Rippetoe is completely wrong here, but my problem with the Rippetoe squat is that the focus is upon developing maximum strength in the sense of the most weight you can put on the bar. I don't think that's ideal for sports, but you know, we're talking tit for tat here. When we start talking about ideal squat styles to carry over for football, because that is what starting strength was written for. It was written for football players who need to bulk up, get bigger, get stronger for football. People have tried to apply it to other things and brought it over, and it's fine for a lot of other purposes. But I think because the volume is relatively moderate, very minimal assistance work, people need to understand this is a program for multifaceted athletes. Like football players are going to be doing a lot of conditioning, they're going to be doing a lot of GPP work, they're going to be doing a lot of sport-specific training on top of it. So it keeps the total volume relatively mild. But the thing is, that's kind of sidetracking. The point with the low bar squat that he has people do with the wide stance, yeah, it lets you use more weight, but at the expense of range of motion. And who uses those stances? Very, very few athletes are going to use the sort of stance width for anything on a playing field or anything else that is utilized there. I personally think that high bar squatting, Olympic style squatting, carries over better for most sports. That's what I would recommend for athletes. I also recommend the same thing for people just chasing hypertrophy, because using a slightly lighter weight, about 5% less weight, is a norm from going from high bar to low bar squat, that you're using a longer range of motion with a slightly lighter weight. That overall you can get the same strength, you can get the same development, but you're doing so with a little less weight, which is going to give you slightly lower chances of injury, because ultimately our goals in training are not to lift as much weight as possible in training. Our goals are to build as much strength and size, usually in training, while minimizing risk. That's generally the idea of training, and I just feel that the low bar squat doesn't do that as well as the high bar squat. But you know what, that's just my opinion, and just because I have a different stance from Rippetoe or Alan Thrall doesn't make me wrong and them right, or them right and me wrong. These are just opinions and ways of looking at things, and I'm sure they have reasons, intelligent reasons, as to why they feel differently. It just is what it is. All right, next question. Hey Jason, in the UK it is recommended that people get their 5 a day of fruits and vegetables as part of a healthy, balanced diet. I have never eaten that much fruit and veg in a day and highly doubt I ever will. Do you think this target is too over the top, and will it really have any serious health effects on people who don't? Thanks. Alright guys, a lot of these dietary recommendations are made for a couple of reasons. Part of the fact is people who aren't athletic eat less food. They need less total calories. Alright, so ideally, if they're going to maintain ideal body weights, they're going to need more micronutrient-rich foods than someone who has extra calories to spare. Meaning if their maintenance calories are 2,300 calories a day, that's a lot less calories a day to get in to get all your vitamins and minerals, versus someone who's very active and athletic who might burn 3,300 calories a day, 1,000 or more calories a day. You still need the same amount of vitamins and minerals. And that's what people need to understand. There is no additional need created for vitamins and minerals by people who lift weights. Right? There isn't. That's complete bullshit that people think that there is. It's not. So these people need to consume less calories, right? Because they burn less, so higher satiety foods, fruits and vegetables, particularly vegetables, fill you up more for the same calories. It's going to cause them to overeat less. Number 2, they have 1,000 less calories a day than someone who's a lot more active and athletic to get the same amount of vitamins and minerals in. That means there needs to be a slightly higher focus for the average person for overall health on things like vegetables and more micronutrient dense foods. They just have less total calories to get those things in while still maintaining a healthy body weight, because again, that's going to mean less calories to stay there than people who are athletic. So I think that is actually a good advice, and that is true for people who aren't athletic and don't train a lot. I think that advice is perfect. People who consume a lot more calories because of a higher metabolic rate and TDEE from their activity might not need to focus on that as much because you have a lot more calories available to you to get the same amount of nutrition in. And that's the big difference there that people need to keep in mind. All right, next question. What are your thoughts on 2-a-day cardio sessions? Are they providing any additional benefits? Could they impede performance? I'm a powerlifter and strength and performance is N1 priority, and I'm looking to improve recovery and workload. Thanks a lot for the great content. As a powerlifter, no, I don't think you should be doing 2 cardio sessions a day at all. You're doing cardio as a powerlifter to improve your health, to improve your work capacity, and to improve things like waste clearing in your muscles, to improve recovery through better capillarization and such, and better cardiovascular health. 2-a-day cardio sessions for a powerlifter is probably going to impede your performance. Does it have benefits for people whose goals are endurance and cardiovascular as their primary? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely has benefits for those people, but that isn't you. If your goal is strength, I'm going to say no more than 1 cardio session a day. You're a powerlifter, you're using cardio as a recovery tool and a tool to enhance your overall work capacity. You don't need to be doing 2 a day, because if you do, that's going to be detracting from your primary training focus. That's going to be detracting from your primary training stimulus, and it's going to be spreading yourself too thin. So no, I wouldn't recommend that. But like I said, someone whose primary goal is endurance might only be lifting weights twice a week at any serious intensity or volume, twice a week. And those people, because their primary training stimulus needs to be endurance, they could benefit from multiple cardio sessions a day depending upon the specifics of what they're trying to do. So this is really a goal-specific question, and in your case, the answer is no, don't do that. All right, next question. Hi, Jason. I really like the Texas method, but my new work schedule is somewhat hectic, and I can only manage to get to the gym on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Since the Texas method has you lifting relatively light weights in the second workout of the week, do you think it would be fine to do just that workout on Tuesdays, the day after the first workout, instead of Wednesdays? Well, here's the thing with a program like that. A lot of times coaches will tell you, don't change my program, you need this amount of difference. Look, your light day, which is, again, far, far easier on you, is being done the next day afterwards. All that's going to do is reinforce the training signal. And then you're going to have time to recover. So it looks like, I don't know. It's hard to say because they are spaced together. It could interfere with your Thursdays a little bit because you only have 48 hours after the light workout again, so really 72 hours from the first heavier one. You're going to have to experiment around with it and see, and it might negatively affect your Thursdays a little bit, but because you have so much downtime between, your Mondays are going to be awesome every time. Truth be told, while it might not be ideal, I would say odds are you're probably still going to be okay on this. And the fact of the matter is, this is probably the best you can hope to obtain because your work schedule is forcing you to train 3 days a week, and 2 of those are going to be back-to-back. So at least you're choosing a system that allows the second day back-to-back to be your lightest day in the week. And so honestly, that's probably about the best you can expect to do in your particular situation. And when I say it's not ideal, what I mean is you might lose 1%, 2% of your possible gains from a program because of your unideal work schedule. But obviously your job, your career, your work is more important than the training. And at the end of the day, you're probably not going to miss that 1 or 2% difference because for you, training is just a lifestyle and a hobby. It's not the be-all, end-all, obviously. So I say give it a go, run it, and it should be perfectly acceptable. And that's the thing that people need to realize when we're talking about training. A lot of times when we talk about ideal training, we're talking about people whose lives really do revolve around it in a professional manner. For people who actually have other lives outside of their training, you can't focus too much upon things like optimal or ideal training because, you're not going to get there if you have a life outside of the gym anyways. No one who has a full-time job, no one who has a family to raise and everything else is ever going to be 100% of what they could get from their training. That's why things like Bulgarian training and stuff, the real Bulgarian training, exists out there, because the coaches wanted to make sure they picked a training method that gave them everything possible, that also isolated them because of the training schedule from other things outside of their training. Because to be the best in the world, your training has to be your top priority, in fact, almost your only priority. But for everyone else, worrying about that sort of stuff really is kind of a waste of time. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, brother, give it a go. I think it should be fine. It should be fine with what you're doing. Just watch yourself and pace your Thursday workout accordingly. If you have days to where it is grinding you down a little bit, then adjust the intensities and workload just slightly to compensate, and it should be fine. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 3.